Everything I've ever said to Biggie on air was how I felt. He knew, I knew how he felt about me. He knew how I felt about him. And so it's really hard to come up and say something that you don't know. We shared the same birthday. We had so many experiences that were like in sync. And we had a chemistry on the air that like a lot of people don't, is unprecedented in radio to be able to read people the way that him and I read each other. One of my favorite things is on a recommendation, we were said to try and come up with these hand gestures to try and communicate off the air or when we're on the air. So, listeners wouldn't know when we're communicating. And one of my favorite ones is we were, telling a story or something or trying to get people to call in. And I see him taking his hand and he makes like a cup, like you're palming a basketball. And he motions, bending his elbow, like motions like come here with his elbow, but he's kind of putting it on his head. And I don't know what he's saying, like, because that was the thing about Biggie is the way his mind operated, whether he was labeling prank calls or best of bits or writing you a text, was not the way you communicated. And so he's trying to bend his elbow and like make this gesture towards his head, and he's telling me to recap. So we go to break and I'm like, what the F are you doing? What's wrong? And he's like, recap, recap, recap. And he's doing the gesture over and over. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. What do you mean? He's like, look, I'm putting a cap back on. I'm re-putting it back on. Recap, recap. Literally one of his worst ideas ever. And like I said earlier, it was no hidden thing, the arguments him and I would have on air or disagreements, and he was a brother. Not by blood, but by experiences. I never would have gotten through the passing of my father. I would have never made it through my divorce. I would have never made it through finding my current wife. I would have never have been through or been able to deal with the challenges of infertility, of this career growth, without him. And he's just an amazing guy, and there will be no one like him. And people have been saying this a lot. It won't be the same. The show won't be the same. You're right, it won't. Because it would be an insult to what he's done to try and duplicate it. So what that means is it's the next chapter. We start another chapter. Because I don't know about anybody else, I'm going to honor him.
Absolutely.
I'm going to do whatever I have to do to honor him. Because he would want it that way. We had an agreement, and he broke the agreement. And that was we were going to do this for 30 years, so I'm going to do it without him. I said this earlier when Rebecca was in here. Biggie is an awesome dude. And when you see him with his daughter, whether you've seen the pictures of him and Annabelle online or you have seen him talk about her, it is amazing. You literally can see the love he has for his little girl. And Rebecca shared something with me. It's a very private moment, and I'm going to share it with you because I want you to know what kind of man Biggie really was. He would sing Lionel Richie's Truly to Annabelle. And I have it, and I'm going to play it for you. I'm going to play it for you now. Thank you to everybody that called in. This will be the last thing we play. And thank you guys so much.